Hello friends, welcome to Learning. My name is Dr. Ben. Today, we are going to learn some awesome stuff. Learning is for everyone. Let's make it fun and let's enjoy. Hello and welcome back to the Excel version 2019 using formulas and functions learning series. Today, we will discuss using logical functions. Let's get started. If you are enjoying the series, please click the like button below and also click the subscribe button to receive notifications of new lessons and modules. One of the more powerful aspects of Excel is its ability to perform a logical comparison between values in a worksheet and produce a result. In many cases, the result is further evaluated and specific actions are performed to provide additional insight into the analysis. Excel includes a variety of logical functions, including Boolean functions, conditional functions, and constant value functions. Let's take a look at the learning objectives for this module. At the end of this module, you will be able to discuss the if statement, use logical operators in an if statement, create an if function, and use an if function. In this module, you'll be introduced to the if function, which is one of the most popular conditional logical functions in Excel. To fully understand how the if function works in Excel, it is very important that we must recognize the main elements of an if statement. Let's take a look at those elements now. An if statement has three elements or parts. Number one is the condition. According to Microsoft, a condition is a logical test or expression that must evaluate to either true or false. Number two is the true result. This returns one result if the evaluated condition is true. The third element is false result. This returns another result if the evaluated condition is false. Let's summarize this. We have a condition, an evaluation for a true condition, and an evaluation for a false condition. Let's take a look at the three elements in theory. Our example here is of a business situation. It reads, if sales are greater than $3,000, calculate a 10% bonus. Otherwise, calculate a 5% bonus. What's happening here? Where are our three elements? The elements are, number one, the condition. The condition is if sales are greater than $3,000. Our true result is calculate a 10% bonus. And our false result is calculate a 5% bonus. So all three elements are there in this if statement. Let's take a look at another example. If your test score is greater than 80%, you pass. Otherwise, you must retake the test. Where are our three elements? We have the first, the condition, score is greater than 80%. Our true result, you pass. And our false result, you must retake the test. As we create our if statements, we will often use logical operators to specify the conditions to be evaluated. In Microsoft Excel, logical operators are sometimes called comparison operators. These are symbols used to compare two values. When a comparison is made, the result is always a Boolean value, either true or false. Let's take a look at these logical operators. In our chart, we have the first column, logical operator, followed by the description column and the example column. Number one, the greater than. It returns true if the first value is larger than the second. For example, A1 is greater than B1. Our second symbol, less than. It returns true if the first value is smaller than the second. Example, A1 is less than B1. The third symbol, equal to. It returns true if two values are exactly the same. For example, A1 equals B1. Our fourth operator, not equal to. It returns true if two values are different. Example, A1 is not equal to B1. Our fifth operator, greater than or equal to. It returns true if the first value is larger than or equal to the second. Example, A1 is greater than or equal to B1. Our last symbol, less than or equal to. It returns true if the first value is smaller than or equal to the second. Example, A1 is less than or equal to B1. Let's discuss the if function. The if statements are integrated into an Excel worksheet by using the if function. Remember, in prior modules, we said that a function is a predefined formula that performs calculations by using specific values called arguments in a particular order or structure. Functions can be used to perform simple or complex calculations. The if function follows the same principle as an if statement, where a condition is evaluated and then returns a specific result based upon a true or false evaluation. The if functions are quite useful in Excel in such instances as this. In these situations, you may want to use your if function. You need to test if a condition is true or false when evaluated against data in a worksheet. You need to output specific text based upon the evaluation of a condition. You need to perform additional calculations on data based upon the evaluation of a condition. All of the Microsoft functions, followed by the name and opening parenthesis. The function contains 3 arguments, and these are the 3 arguments this function contains. The logical test, it is required, is a value or expression that specifies the condition you want to test. Number 2, the value if true. This is optional. The value you want to return if the result of the logical test is true. This can contain numbers, text, and additional formulas or functions to be evaluated. It also can contain an image. Value if false. This is optional. The value you want returned if the result of the logical test is false. This can contain numbers, text, and additional formulas also, or functions to be evaluated. It also can contain an image or an icon or an emoji. And an image of an if function. We have the equal sign followed by the logical test. We have the value if true and the value if false. All 3 elements are presented. Let's take a look at an Excel spreadsheet that actually covers the if function. Let's put the if function into practice. Before us here is a monthly home budget spreadsheet, all completed and filled out for you. This data will inform us if we are within or over budget on our expensed items. Our columns are as follows. In that first column, we have the expenses, the mortgage, the car, the groceries, and so on. In the second column, we have the budgeted amount for those expenses. And the third, of course, the actual amount spent. That fourth column, that's our variance. And the variance is the difference between actual results and budgeted amounts. The fifth column tells us we are within or over our budget. And this is where we put in our functions to determine that. The next column is a budget emoji. Now the budget emojis there is a thumbs up or a thumbs down. The thumbs up means that, hey, I am within budget. Thumbs down, I'm over budget. So why do we use the budget emoji here in our spreadsheet? Well, emojis are digital images used to convey information. They can assist in improving data visualization, and they're good for that. So besides emojis, Excel also uses what are called icons, which are then called visual cues. These cues are used to assist in explaining data. And we can find those visual cues right here in our conditional formatting. Clicking down arrow here. Okay, there we go. And hit the icon sets, and these are our visual cues. But in this spreadsheet, we're going to use emojis, and we can get to those emojis by clicking our Windows key on our keyboard, plus the period, and here comes our emojis. We're going to get back to this later on, but let's get back to our expenses. Let's take a look at that mortgage expense, and placing my cursor in cell E3, I'm looking at my if function here. I've created an if function to indicate to me the status of my mortgage expense. I've also created a function next to it in F3 to show me that visual cue or that data visualization in the emoji. Let's get back to that E3 cell here. And notice this in my formula bar. Here is my function. The first part is my what? My condition. My condition is if my mortgage is equal to $2,000, then what? What's true? If it's true, I'm going to be within budget. If not true, I am not within budget. It's going to come back. So let's do this real quick. Let's practice together. We're going to go through this particular spreadsheet and complete it all together in a new spreadsheet just for you. I would like for you to access my Dropbox and download the Excel Lesson 5 If Statement Practice Worksheet. The Dropbox link is located beneath the table of contents down below. Follow along with me as you get your spreadsheet all set up. You may pause the video if you need to and come back to where we left off. Let's do that real quick. Go ahead and pause the video and download that spreadsheet. I'll wait for you. Okay, we have our practice worksheet in front of us. Let's create our functions. So putting our cursor in cell E3 right here, our whole goal here is to find out whether or not my mortgage is going to be within budget or not within budget. I'm going to create an if function to tell me that. So what I'm going to do now is place my equal sign, and move my cursor here so you can see. Equal sign is the beginning of our function. If, there's my if, hit my tab, parentheses open is there for us. So C3, place my cursor in C3. If C3 is equal, my equal sign, equal to B3, then what? Comma. If it's equal to B3, then I am within budget is my true statement, correct? My statement is going to be within budget. Notice at the bottom here in the logical statement is there. The value, if true, is bolded there. That's my true statement. Ending my quotations there, comma. Notice at the bottom, the value if false comes up. Hitting a space, my quotations beginning, not within budget. Closing my parentheses, my quotations first. Now I'll close my parentheses. Hitting my enter sign. There we go. It says that, hey, I am within budget. That is because my budgeted amount is for $2,000. I actually spent $2,000. My variance is 0, and I am within budget based upon my statement in my formula bar, my if function. If C3 equals B3, I am within budget. If not, I'm not within budget. The variance you see here, I created that earlier for you, is just the equal sign saying equal B3 minus C3. B3, which is the 2000, minus C3, which is 2000, is 0. That's my variance, which is the difference between actual results and budgeted amounts. All right, so within budget, I'm cool there. Great. Let's look at our next one, the car. Let's look at the car. What do we say here? In the car, if my car expense is equal to 500, then I'm within budget. If not, I'm not within budget. So my car expense is budget for 500. I'm going to do what? I'm going to place my equal sign in that cell. Equal if. The if appears for my IntelliSense. Tab. I'm going to have C4. C4 equals B4, comma. Now the comma is there, is placing me over to the true statement. Quotation within budget. Quotation close, comma, and moving over now to my false statement. Not within budget is going to be my statement. Ending my quotations, ending my parentheses. It shows I'm within budget based upon my if statement. Our next one is going to be the groceries. Now said here my budgeted amount is 200, but I spent 300. So my variance is 100 minus 100. I'm over budget here. So how can I state that in my if statement? How would I state that? Think about that. What we're going to do is take our cursor out of here. If C5 300, if $300 is greater than, where's my greater than symbol? Here we go. Oops, greater than have something else. There we go. If C5 is greater than B5, which is the 200, what happens? Comma, I am over budget. Yes, over budget. If not, then I am within budget. Let's take a look at this again. We said that I budgeted for 200, but I spent 300, so I'm over budget. How can I code that or give a function for that? Equal sign if C5 is greater than B5, which is 200, then I am over budget is true. If not, it's within budget. Let's see what happens. There we go. It's over budget, which is correct. Now, if I were to change this right here, 300 to say, let's say 100, enter, I'm within budget. My variance is 100, which is correct. I'm within budget by $100. Our next one, let's take this back and change it to 300 because I'm going to show you something else here. Over budget. We've eaten too much. Okay, going down to electricity. Very important. We need our electricity. Okay, what do we do here? On our electricity amount, we said that our budget is 100, but we spent 150. So our electricity company is raising our prices on us or something. Hey, so what's happening here? We need to create an if statement. Equal if tab if C6, here we go, if $150 is greater than $100, which is B6, we're what? We're over budget. My quotation's ending, comma, value if false, we're going to be within budget. Quotations, done. As you can see here, we are over budget. Our next one, the gas. We've allotted what, $100 for that per month. We're 60. Hey, okay, great. And 40 is our variance. So what are we doing here? If equal if tab if C7 is greater than B7, then we are over budget. Quotation marks closed, comma, if false, then we are within budget. And PC false. So we're within budget here according to our statement. We allotted for 100. We spent 60 on our phone bill, our gas bill, and we're at $40 variance. So we're within budget. Next one is our entertainment. We like to eat out, go to the movies, just have a good time. And per month we allotted ourselves $100. Does that get us anywhere these days? $100? So we spent actually 150, so we're actually over budget. Let's take our if sign once again. Equal if tab C8. If C8 is greater than $100, which is B8, then if true, we are over budget. You get the idea here? Okay, great. If not true, which is false, we are within budget. Okay. Why is this formula different? Let me try this one again. It says we're different. Let's see what's going on. Yeah, if $100, then we are over budget. True, we are I'm not sure why that's there. Something's rotten in the state of Denmark. Okay. So I'm looking at that. There's no difference I see from there and the other formulas. Do you guys see it? Okay. So now we have our budget all set there, but now let's take a look at our budget emojis. Work on that for the icons. All right, I mentioned budget icons. I meant to say budget emojis, not the icons. So to take a look at those emojis, we're going to put in a thumbs up and a thumbs down for our within and over budget amounts. We're going to go to our F3 there, placing in our if function, equal sign, if, tab, if E3 if E3 is equal to within budget, then for the value true, we're going to put a thumbs up if we're within budget. Thumbs up, how do we get there? Clicking on or selecting my Windows key on my keyboard and my period on my keyboard, we bring up the emojis. I'm clicking the thumbs up. Okay, and then I'm going to give me ending quotes here. Make sure I have my beginning quotes here. Okay, no, it's an error. Okay, stop. Okay. There we go. It's asking for the quotes. There we go. Our beginning quotes, our ending quotes, thumbs up if it's true. Comma, if it's false, I'm going to give it the thumbs down. Clicking that Windows key on your keyboard and that period for your emojis all together gives me a thumbs down. And guess what? I'm going to go back here now. Get out of there. Put in my quotations beginning and quotation marks ending before I get an error message. That's my false. So what I'm saying here is that if E3 equals within budget, if my E3, which is what? Within budget statement there, if it's within budget, I'm going to go thumbs up. If it's not, thumbs down. And it gives me a thumbs up. Great. So since I have that set already for both thumbs up and thumbs down within budget, that's good. I'm going to go back here. Let me see what I put for this one. Within budget. Okay, within budget. I'm making sure that all of my statements have within budget in them, which it does. Now I can go back and take this, since I have within budget, thumbs up, thumbs down, I can use those for all of my expenses here. Using my cell referencing technique we learned in earlier modules. Look at that. There we go. So you're probably wondering, how do I get those colors in there? Let's check it out. Let's check it out. So here in the first one, I have it green, set as green. Let's do this. Select all of these. I'm going to go over to conditional formatting. From there, we're going to move over to highlight cell rules and go down to the text contains. We know this is not a text, it's an emoji. So here, we're going to say that I'm going to go here and click there and hit my Windows period to bring up my emojis. I'm bringing up my thumbs up. Notice that it highlights all those here that are thumbs up. We don't want that. We're going to go back here now where it says light red fill. Click that down arrow and go down to custom format. From custom formatting, we're going to go to the font, which is selected, down to the automatic, and we're going to select green. The green's already selected, but I want to select, just to show you the different colors, purple, and click OK. And click OK here. Notice my thumbs ups are purple now. But we want that to be green. So we're going to go back now, clicking everybody there, conditional formatting, highlight cell rules, text that contains, clicking my icon once again, or I'm sorry, my emoji, thumbs up. Okay, getting out of that, going here, I'm going to select green with my custom format. Again, is it okay? Custom format. There we go. Hitting, make sure font is selected. My color, clicking my down arrow and clicking the green, and clicking OK. The preview is there. Clicking OK. This green again, and click OK. Keeping all this selected, I'm going to go back now, conditional formatting, highlight cells rules, hit text that contains, go down there and click my Windows period. I'm going to bring up my down arrow now, or down, thumbs down. We've got that set. Okay. Going back to my with text box here. custom format. Making sure font is selected. My color is not automatic. My color is going to be red. Right there. Clicking the red and OK. And it's red. That's how you get the colors for your emojis. Now, there's more than one way of getting colors for your emojis by using a Word document and other strategies, but this one I find is best for me. Remember what I said earlier? There's more than one way of completing a task in Excel. There's numerous ways, but find the way that fits your strategy, that fits your purpose. So we've talked about the if function and how it works with the budget emojis. Now, when you're working with that if function, there are a few considerations to think about when using that if function. As shown earlier in the syntax, the if function only requires the logical test argument in the formula. Both the value if true and the value if false arguments are optional. It is important to understand the impact to your formula if you omit the true or false arguments. So, when constructing an if function, do consider the following. If you omit the value if true argument, the if function will return a 0 when the condition is met. For example, I'm going to take an example here from the spreadsheet in front of us here. I'm going to place in there if tab, let's say B3 is greater than before, comma, there's my value for the test if it's true. If I omit that and just put the false statement in there, no, look what happens. There we go. It returns a 0. So if B3 is greater than B4, then 0 will automatically display since the second argument is omitted. That true argument is gone. So the B3 is not greater than B4, a no should display. So let's look at that. If B3 is not greater than or is less than, there's a no. That's one thing to consider. So when you leave those arguments out, you set yourself up for something that's not good. If you omit the value if false when the condition is false, look what happens. So I'm going to say take out the value here. Let's put a yes in there. And there we go. It's going to turn to false. And that's not cool. So if you omit the value if false argument, I just have the true value in there at this point. When you're looking at it, there's no false argument there. The function will return a logical value of false. If you place the comma after the value if true argument, it's going to return a 0 for you. So if the value is false is omitted, the result's going to be false. And if you place a comma after the word yes, a 0 is going to be displayed. There's a 0. And lastly, if you don't want the if statement to display any value when the condition is evaluated, enter double quotes in the argument that you want to have blank. So if I want that false to be to display as a blank, I will then put in the yes there, and I'm going to put in just the double quotes here. It's blank. That means you have nothing coming back. So those are just a few things to consider when you're looking at your if function. So do use the arguments all together. The logical value, the true, and the false, just to save yourself some headaches. Even though they say it's optional, there's a point in time for that. But as you're doing this as an analytical review, I suggest to use the arguments until you get up to speed and learn how to use the function effectively. This concludes our learning about the functions and formulas for this module. What did we learn? From this basic to intermediate Excel lesson 5, you are now able to discuss the if statement, use logical operators in an if statement, create an if function, and use an if function. Overall, for the lesson 5, we are now able to perform a variety of functions now based on our prior modules, basic and intermediate modules, lessons 5, modules 1 through 5. You've done a great job. Give yourself a hand clap. This concludes our lesson 5, modules 1 through 5. Please stay tuned for lesson 6. In lesson 6, we're going to discuss getting and transforming data. This data could be from an Excel spreadsheet, a CSV file, or maybe an Access database or an Oracle database. Taking that data and transforming it into an Excel spreadsheet. Thank you for watching and listening, and I hope you received something great from this lesson. Have a great day, and I'll talk with you later. Goodbye.